Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue our journey into this amazing world of an ancient language that got transformed and evolved over time, thousands of years. And here in 2022, I'm trying to decode the language, how it was formed, how the meanings are made. And along the way, we discover some interesting phenomena about this language, about how the culture viewed human activities. 防微杜渐 is what we learned yesterday, and it's a great piece of advice even for today. So before anything bad happens, prevent when it's small and stop it before it becomes a trend, before it gradually turns into something big. So we're going to continue today in 微量元素, and 微量元素 actually is a contemporary translation of an English concept, or the international imported some contemporary scientific terms, but we have to compose the new concept with existing materials from the language. So somebody picked the 4 elements here. 微量元素, 微 micro, saying we have this walking, we have this hair, we have this hand holding a tool next to the hair. So the motion of hairdressing and the dealing with the fine human hair, both of them conveying the meaning of it's kind of micro. You really need to pay attention to the movement or the small scale things. 量, okay, 量 came like it's related to the character 重. If we see without this top circle with a horizontal line in between, the remaining of them looks very close to the character 重. 重 means weight, and people also come up with all kinds of theories to explain how that complicated structure means 重. So for me, the simple understanding is, okay, at the bottom is the soil, and on the top, like the whole thing, the top portion, the middle portion, is something stacked on top of soil. So making that soil probably solid. I don't know if in ancient times, the agriculture activity, there are some, weighing on the soil activity to kind of form the soil for planting purpose for agriculture, right? Maybe that's why there's soil involved, and there are multiple things that stacking up on top of that. So visually, now if we add the circle with the horizontal line, it almost looks like a scale, right? A scale from the side view, that you have this base of the scale, and you have this container, like a disc container, and you have the object put in the container to be measured. And I don't know how to explain the middle part. Probably that's for the scale, the spring, the mechanism part to weighing it. But in ancient times, the language, this image means measuring, and most often measuring the weight. And from measuring, like 微量, like small measure, means small volume or weight of things. Okay, so that eventually the measure used as weight as well. We have 质量, 重量, so quality and quantity. No. 数量 is quantity, 质量 is quality, and we have 重量 is weight. So this character eventually paired with other characters to create other type of concept, but originally this just came from the measuring of things. Okay, 元, we have this very similar looking portion here, right? So this is a human figure, and this is the neck of the figure, and this horizontal line doesn't mean the head is cut off. Okay, it means pay attention to this portion. So it's a distinction or a pointer to tell you like where exactly on the human figure we're talking about. it's around the neck area. And we have one more horizontal line on top of that. That's the head. So we here indicate with two horizontal lines, one on top of each other, to mean that's the portion here, that part on a human body. That's what we mean. That's the head. Just look at proportionally, that looks like the head area. Okay, so from the head, I use the English as chief, like main, like the head is the, I guess, the chief of the body, like the boss of the body, right? It tells the rest of the body what to do. So that's the concept of a chief. That's the main. And then su is like main something, right? Su comes from this top and portion, a bottom portion. The bottom is a commonly used fabric symbol. So we have those two circles or half dome shape connected on the string, and then at the bottom is jin, is something drapey, some sort of fabric or scarf, drapey, and then we have two knots tied to it. It's like a string of things tied together. The whole structure here means fabric, and then the top is a visual looking like mountains. So that means the border line. So probably the whole thing means the fabric, but already with borders, or could be without borders. It's hard to tell. So something related to the bordered or unbordered fabric. Translating into English is great, and I end up checking out what exactly great mean. Great is a combination of gray, the color gray, and the color beige. So switch out the B, plug in the GR, it's great. So that's the type of fabric that's kind of a grayish, beigeish. So it's warm gray or cold gray. So gray, right? Warm gray color looking fabric. So what does it mean? Like people very rarely would wear that kind of like light beige, kind of a muddy color, right? It's not really flattering. So that's the great good in textile or in manufacturing of clothing, means before the fabric was dyed or other treatment, before it was embellished to be ready to be put in the market, it was the formation of the beginning stage of the fabric. It's after the fabric was woven, and that's the su concept. That means the baseline, almost like that, like before we're layering on other elements of this item, this stuff, before we beautify it. That's the baseline. That's at the core. What that is a great good, like uncolored, undyed fabric. So 元素, chief, great, in Chinese we can understand as, okay, so this pretty complicated thing have some main factors. So this main and the factor, or the main component or elements, like that's the core before embellished. That's the main thing. So 元素 together, somebody coined this word to reflect the English concept of element. So 微量元素 in English, and it translated as, English was trace element, and somebody translated as 微量元素 into Chinese. So 微量 means a small quantity, micro quantity, very, according to the definition of a trace element, is below 0.1%. So for that element is really low. It's like almost like below the radar. But especially in nutritional science, is these elements, even if the quantity just measured by the volume, by the 量, it's small, it's micro, but they are essential to the operation of human body. So they cannot be missed at all, regardless how small quantity, what a low percentage they represent. They they compose of the human body. And 元素 means the main character. So now you can see 元素 actually here means chemical components, chemical elements. So these are how we translate chemical components that you can see body is like a mesh of all of this in a combination, a way of combining them together. And they are considered as 元素, as the main elements, even if there are many, many of them. And probably each of them have their own functions and important to human development or maintenance, normal functioning. So all of these are considered 元素. So 元素 doesn't really mean a small essential, like small quantities of essentials. It could be like this many, right? They are still called 元素. So 微量元素, just trace element, or in more understandable daily language is micronutrients. So 微量元素 is how Chinese translate that. Okay, cashing to the currency of thinking about one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.